Warning. This video is a work of entertainment, satire, commentary, or artistic expression, reflecting the personal opinions and creative vision of the creator, which do not reflect the opinions of YouTube, Google, its parent company, affiliates, or companies advertising on YouTube. This video and the content therein are protected by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution and Fair Use Principles, Title 17, U.S. Code, subsection 107. It is not intended to be factual professional advice or an endorsement of specific outcomes, including health, financial, or other claims. No results are guaranteed, as outcomes vary and are not typical. Viewers must independently verify all information and consult credible sources before acting. Any critique or discussion of political figures, candidates, or parties is intended as satirical or critical commentary, not to advocate for or against any election outcome in the United States or elsewhere, and is presented in accordance with YouTube's community guidelines, including EDSA. Educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic exceptions for transformative content. This video does not intend to spread misinformation, incite violence, promote hate speech, or harass individuals or groups. The creator reserves the right to appeal any platform restrictions, expecting YouTube to apply its policies consistently and transparently. Viewer discretion is strongly advised, as this content may include controversial or subjective viewpoints. Verify claims independently to avoid reliance on unverified information.
Well, hello again. Good evening, kiddies. It's time for a little bedtime story, a little educational bedtime story with yours truly, Nonstop Thoughts. In my last video, I had a brain fart, a little memory lapse there. I couldn't remember the name of the guy that I was thinking of that was the head of NASA in the 1960s. Shame on me. For whatever reason, I couldn't remember his name. Wernher von Braun. I've talked to a couple different people over the years about this, and they had no idea that he was a card-carrying Nazi. Not only was he a card-carrying Nazi, he was a member of the Death's Head unit, the SS, the elite of the elite, the skull and crossbones ring bearing guys. There's only like a dozen of them at any one time, and whenever one of them died, they had to give it off to somebody else or whatever it was. I can't remember what the rules were, but there was only a dozen of them at a time. He was one of those guys, responsible for unbelievable acts against humanity, crimes against humanity. That was your guy back in the 60s during the moon landing. So take that however you will. So we're going to do a little reading on Wernher von Braun. This comes from good old Wikipedia, right? A trusted source. Although in this case, they are right. But you got to be careful with Wikipedia because it's moderated by morons most of the time. So take that as you will, but these things are true. They're known facts about Wernher von Braun. They're just not talked about very often. So I'm going to talk about them. Okay? So put in your earbuds or whatever and drift off to sleep while we talk about Nazis in America. And Wernher von Braun's not the only one. We're going to get into a couple other ones just a little bit, just for funsies. So, Wernher Magnus Maximilian Freyr von Braun was a member of the Nazi Party, a German-American aerospace engineer, space architect, member of the Allgemeine, which later became the one that I was talking about a second ago, the Totenkopfverbände, that's the Death's Heads unit. See if I can get a picture of that ring real quick for you. Where is that? 1 second. A lot of people don't even know about the ring. Yeah, there you go. There's a picture of the ring that they wore. The Death's Head ring. Wernher von Braun, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Let's back up. Let's see. The leading figure in the development of rocket technology in Nazi Germany. He was responsible for the V2 or V4, whatever rocket that was that they bombed the fuck out of Britain with. I think it was the V2. He was the guy. He was their guy. Who also did a lot of work with, who was that other fella? Oh, hell, the guy that, what was his name? Jack Parsons. JPL, Jack Parsons. That's most people think that JPL stands for Jet Propulsion Laboratories. It's actually Jack Parsons Laboratories, who did a lot of work with Wernher von Braun. And was a big-time occultist and Satanist, and performed rituals. And we might get into that in some other time, some other date. I don't want to give you too many nightmares after all. It's supposed to be a bedtime story. It's supposed to be an educational bedtime story. So let's see. Oh, he also did, obviously he was brought over here by Operation Paperclip. He did work with Walt Disney. Let's see. And you can look all this up on Wikipedia if you want more, if you want to read the whole thing. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you tonight. It won't take you that long to go to sleep, reading about Nazis, surely. Let's see. He worked with Walt Disney on a series of films which popularized the idea of human space travel in the U.S. and beyond from 1955 to 1957. So why do you think that it was so easy for us to absorb the idea of mankind going to the moon, even though we've never been back since then? For some reason. The technology was lost for some reason. I guess they taped over it with the Super Bowl, or whatever. At some point, they just lost it. They just lost it. And the technology they've theorized trying to get back to the moon, the amount of fuel that they used then, turns out, I guess the moon got a lot further away at some point, because recently SpaceX has been trying to figure out how to get back to the moon, or NASA rather. I think NASA, in coordination with SpaceX, has been trying to figure out how to get back to the moon. And it turns out, even with better technology, better rocket propulsion technology, better fuels that are lighter, more combustible, easier to use, safer, etc., it's going to take like 30 times or 40 times the amount of fuel to get there. So anyway, that's a different, maybe a different video, yeah? Different bedtime story. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon, I think is the guy's book. Maybe you've heard of him. I can't remember what his name is, but some other video, some other time. A little bit at a time, little bits and pieces of knowledge for you. Little bits and pieces of education for you from trusted sources, okay? In 1960, his group was assimilated into NASA, where he served as director of the newly formed Marshall Space Flight Center, and as the chief architect of the Saturn V Super Heavy Lift launch vehicle that propelled the Apollo spacecraft to the moon. In 1967, von Braun was inducted into the National Academy of Engineering. In 1975, he received the National Medal of Science. Well, ain't that something? Let's see. Get down to the NASA stuff. That's the good stuff. Like I said, you guys can go, guys and gals, for those ladies that are interested in this kind of stuff, that doesn't want somebody mansplaining it to them. But if you're one of those, you don't belong on this channel anyway, because I'd be a man and I'd be explaining stuff. So, but anyway, those of you that are interested can go do your own research and start thinking for yourselves. It'll be good for you. It'll hurt a little bit. It's going to hurt a little, but it'll be good for you in the end. Good Lord. There's a lot of stuff on this guy. We want the NASA stuff, though. Here we go. NASA career. The U.S. Navy had been tasked with building a rocket to lift satellites into orbit, but the resulting Vanguard rocket launch system was unreliable. In 1957, with the launch of Sputnik 1, a belief grew within the United States that it lagged behind the Soviet Union in the emerging space race. That's all bullshit. We didn't give a fuck what the Russians... I mean, we did, but it wasn't a space race issue. It was a war issue. We were worried about being behind them in tactics of war. Had nothing to do with space, but that's how it was put out to people. That's how it was put out to children. You know, how important going to space was the final frontier, right? You know, captain's log, 3 pounds, 2 ounces, you know, that dumb shit. We're not going anywhere. We can't get past the Van Allen radiation belts. You die, you fry, you burn, and you come crashing back to space, just like that one Russian, unfortunate, one of the first guys they sent, that they basically launched in a fucking catapult in a Volkswagen. And he fried. He fried. Now, it's not to say that we can't get other objects out of there that aren't living things and computers and shield them and things and get, you know, data and stuff. I do believe that, you know, by proxy, we've been to space. But there's never been a body, a human being, nor a monkey, nor a dog, nor a mouse, nor a marmot, nor a fucking anything that has fucking made it to space and came back not toast. You look up all the videos you want of, you know, people taking NASA, if you're English, scientists up there in space in a fucking zero gravity fucking drop situation. You know, you can see their spacesuits being lifted up by wires and shit, and they're pulling them back down and stuff. And it's such a fucking outright lie, and they just keep on fucking pumping it out to us. But what else is new? Anyway, this video is about Nazis. Let's see. A belief grew within the United States that lied behind the Soviet Union and emerging space race, yeah. American authorities then chose to use von Braun and his German team's experience with missiles to create an orbital launch vehicle. Von Braun had originally proposed such an idea in 1954, but it was denied at the time. So I don't know what year ICBMs came out, intercontinental ballistic missiles, but this is why they did it. Didn't have anything to do with the Soviets, had nothing to do with the space race, but that's what they needed to tell people in order to get them behind the military to build weapons of mass destruction and attach it to it, which, you know, Oppenheimer really gifted the world with that nonsense, didn't he? Oppenheimer. Take that however you want. Let's see. NASA was established by law on July 1958. One day after the 50th Redstone rocket was successfully launched from Johnson Atoll in the South Pacific as part of Operation Hardtack. 2 years later, NASA opened the Marshall Space Flight Center at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, and the Armored Ballistic Missile Agency, ABMA, developed team led by von Braun was transferred to NASA in a face-to-face meeting with Herb York at the Pentagon. Von Braun made it clear he would go to NASA only if development of Saturn were allowed to continue. Von Braun became the center's first director on 1st of July 1960 and held the position until the 27th of January 1970. So that was the director administrator. I think they changed the title of that. Maybe not. Administrator might be different from director, but he was the director of NASA for 10 years. Card-carrying, death's head, super Nazi was our space program guy. And you all think we went to the moon, huh? From these folks who were the absolute top tier, cream of the crop propagandists. You think we went, huh? All right, that's fine. Dream of a reality where we went to the moon. Drift off to sleep on a reality that we went to the moon, even though we've never been back, right? We tried to go again last year, and it got rained out. There were technical difficulties. Literally, that was the excuse, that due to weather difficulties, we couldn't go, and then they just gave up again. What they're waiting on is for AI technology to get good enough that they can fool us all again with some more fake footage. That's what they're doing, in case you didn't know. See, they need to fool a whole nother generation who are a little wiser to the bullshit than they used to be. But AI, boy, you can't believe your eyes now. Imagine what it'll be just a few years from now. They'll be able to get you to believe anything. What was it Elon Musk said in a quote one time that was just absolutely outrageous? You can tell it's real by how fake it looks. He said that. That's your new space guy. A lot of people have heard about Wernher von Braun. A few more people have heard about his involvement with the Nazi Party, but a lot of people haven't heard about his brother, Magnus von Braun. See, Magnus, Mac, that was his American little nickname. Magnus Freyer von Braun died in 2003, born in 1919. Was a German chemical engineer, Luftwaffe aviator, rocket scientist, and business executive, a highly regarded member of the Nazi Party. In his 20s, he worked as Germany's guided missile development and production at the Peenemund, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. I haven't seen that one before. Army Research Center. I have seen it before, I just don't remember how to pronounce it. The Peenemund Army Research Center and the Mittelwerk, spelled W-E-R-K, German, Mittelwerk, from 1943 to 1945. At age 26, he emigrated to the United States via Operation Paperclip. That's a funny way to put it, emigrated. Where he worked for some years at Fort Bliss. In 1955, he began a new career as a senior executive with Chrysler's missile division. Yes, that Chrysler Motor Company. Did you all know that Chrysler had a rocket program? That a car company... Let me slow down for you for a second. That a car company had a rocket program. Does that sound familiar at all? What car company today is sending rockets to space? I don't need to spell it out for you, do I? I don't need to spell it out for you, right? Later moving to automotive products. So he didn't stay on the rocket program, but he stayed with Chrysler. Chrysler kept him. He moved into the automotive line of things. He retired in Arizona in 1975. Lived the American dream. Where he died in 2003. Did you know that? Did you know Wernher von Braun's brother, Magnus von Braun, who was also likely part of the Death's Head division, but I don't know if he was or not. Maybe not, but he was still a big-time Nazi. Card carrier. Armband wearer. Goose-stepping. Sieg Heilen. Nazi. Died here in 2003. In Arizona. Just, 22 years ago? He was the younger brother of Sigismund and Wernher von Braun. So yeah, he was von Braun the younger. We won't get into Sigismund. That's a little too much for one video. I don't want to get this to go too long. But I just wanted to get you guys' brains working a little bit. Start thinking a little bit outside the box. And realize that history is not what you think it is. Reality is not what you think it is. That things are not what they seem. Things are not... You got to stop looking at things through rose-colored glasses like everything's going to be just fine, because that's what got us in trouble 2 generations ago. When we thought everything was going to be just fine, nobody was calling anybody out on anything, and, dickheads like that were able to get away with all kinds of wild shit. I know that I say a lot of shit against Israel and against the Jews themselves, but they were oppressed at one time. There was a reason, however. There was a reason why they were oppressed, why they were kicked out of Germany and 108 other countries. There is a reason. The Nazis didn't wake up one day and just decided to be Nazis. Okay? Doesn't mean that what they did was right. Doesn't mean what they did was correct or righteous. They were fucking evil. And today, the victims have become the perpetrators, you see. That tends to happen a lot. People that are damaged in one way hurt people, tend to hurt people, much the same way they were hurt. They were doing a lot of things. The Jews were doing a lot of things in Germany that caused the German people to rise up. There was a reason. They didn't, like I said, they didn't just wake up one day and decide to be anti-Semitic. Okay? That doesn't happen. Does not happen and has never happened in history. There's a reason. It's not just because they were hateful fucks. That's what it became. Because it just built and built and built and built over time. They finally said, that's enough of that shit. Kill them all. And even that really didn't happen. They deported them all to a place we now know in the Middle East as Israel. Israel. Those are all European Jews over there, believe it or not. Believe it or not. Now, some of them were born there. Some of them have always been there. There's always been Jews in Israel, they'll tell you, and that's true. That's true. About 3% of them have always been there. Oh, and also, there's always been Arabs there too, and Christians, and every other kind of religion you can imagine has been in Israel. Not now, though. Not now, though. There's a reason why there's only really Jews there in Israel. I'm sure you probably know why by now, right? Probably not safe to be there unless you're a Jew. Victims become perpetrators. So anyway, it's a nice little bedtime story for you. I do hope you enjoyed. If you like this kind of content, and you'd like to hear me go a little deeper on some things, well, you know what to do, don't you? Surely by now, after YouTube being around for the last 20 or so years, however long it's been, surely by now you know what to do. I don't need to tell you. Just like I don't need to tell you, we didn't go to the fucking moon. We didn't go, boy. We didn't. And I'll fight anybody on it. I don't give a shit how much photo evidence and videos you got. Because the proof's in the pudding, and ye shall know them by their fruits. That's what my God says, and I believe him. So leave me a little nastygram down in the comment. Let me know that you hated it, or let me know that you want to hear more of it. Either way, I'll read it. And I'll respond accordingly. So keep that in mind too. Anyway, again, hope you all enjoyed. I enjoyed doing this. It's a little bit of fun. It's a little bit of fun for me to get out there with some education and some put a little bit of humor into it if I can. Sometimes, right? Because it's supposed to be educational or satirical, according to my little disclaimer. And y'all will see me next time. As always, thanks for watching.